Hey guys, this is Mike the Detroit Borg with a look at the Samsung Galaxy Player 5.0, and this is Samsung's Android answer to the iPod Touch. Now this is a 5-inch screen, but you can get this in the 4-inch screen, and that's called the Samsung Galaxy 4.0. It comes with a 1 GHz single-core Hummingbird processor, has 512 megs of RAM, and has 8 gigs of storage upgradable thanks to a micro SD card slot. Alright, let's just open the box to reveal our player. And indeed, it is very large and wrapped in plastic with lots of labels. We have a little tab here to lift it up, pull it out of its box. So we're going to take a look around. Let's just set this aside for a minute, and we're going to take a look to see what came in the box. Well, it looks like the first thing we get is a manual. Health and safety and warranty guide. Maybe that's not the manual. Comes in multiple languages. Here is the manual, I suppose, or quick guide. It shows you how to use it, how to charge it, how to sync it. Basic functions. Alright, we get the idea. We'll set that aside, and that too. Now you also get a set of Samsung in-ear earphones along with this remote and mic, as well as different size ear tips. In the box we also get a USB wall adapter for charging, and we also get a micro USB cable. Alright, let's just take a look at the Samsung player, and first thing we want to do is take off the plastic, so we're just going to peel this tab back. And we have one more tab here to peel off the front. Alright, with the plastic removed, we can take a close look around the Galaxy Player, and you can see we have a design that's actually pretty familiar territory, especially to iPhone 3GS owners, specifically the white iPhone 3GS. So we have this curved, shiny, white plastic backing, which joins at the front with a edge-to-edge glass panel surrounded by a chrome bezel. Now the iPhone 3GS has a metal bezel, while the bezel on the Samsung Player is actually plastic. Now, of course, the big story here is that 5-inch WXVGA display with a resolution of 480 by 800. This is LCD, not Super AMOLED or OLED in any way. This is just a basic LCD display. It is also not an IPS display, so it's not the highest quality display you can get. It certainly doesn't really come close to the displays on the Galaxy phones from Samsung. Now toward the bottom we have some pretty familiar Android controls. So we have menu, home, and back. On the bottom we have a USB connector for charging or for adding additional content to the onboard storage. We also have a headphone jack and a microphone. Now in the front you also have a VGA camera as well as this decorative earpiece, so I guess if you want your Samsung Player to look like a phone, this does the trick, but otherwise it's non-functional. Now in the back you have these two stereo speakers as well as a 3.2 megapixel auto-focusing camera, which is capable of recording video up to 480p, so this is not a high-def video camera. We also get a little LED flash that works in both photo and video. On this side we have our power button along with our volume control. Again, these are plastic buttons. Also up top is a connector for a lanyard and a micro SD card slot, so this pops to the side and allows you to expand storage up to 32 gigs. Now that we know what the hardware looks like, let's start it up. So I'm just going to hold the power button, turn it on. You get kind of a choppy Samsung animation there. Now we just need to set up our device for the first time, so we're going to go with English. Now we need to select our date format, so I'm going to go month, day, year. We're going to go to next. Use Google location. We're going to allow that, so next. And we're right to our home screen. Now with the device booted up, all you have to do is swipe up to unlock it, and you can see we're running a flavor of Gingerbread. So this is Android 2.3.5, and this is running Samsung's TouchWiz overlay. So TouchWiz brings us things like this drop down from, if you just swipe down, it brings up some basic settings so you can toggle Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, GPS, sound, and auto lock on and off. And if you toggle sound, you can see we actually have a vibration motor in here, so this is putting it into vibration mode, which also, because this has a vibration motor, we also have haptic feedback, so when you touch or tap buttons on the keyboard or anything else, it does vibrate. Of course, you can turn that on and off if you like under settings. We also have our notifications here down here, so you can see I have new email. I've already set up my email on this device, and we can get out of that by swiping up, and you can see your notification icons up here. Now we also have 7 home screens that we can customize ourselves, so you can scroll through them just by swiping left and right, or you can tap right to them. Now you also have an application drawer which brings up all of our applications, and you can see we have about 3 pages here. These are all of the applications that came on the device except for a few here. You can see all of these I've added since I've been playing with it. But otherwise you do get quite a suite of applications. We also have a dock here with music, videos, internet, and that applications icon. Now also on the home screen is search. So of course you can perform a Google search by typing it in, or you can speak it. Apple. Now from the home screen you can also use Google Voice Actions with this microphone, and they include things like set an alarm for 4 p.m. And you can set that or cancel that. You can also do things like send a message to Mike. Get this review done tonight. Alright, so it's composed a message and recognized that I spoke a contact before I spoke the body of the text, but it doesn't have that contact in here, so it didn't automatically fill it in. So we're going to cancel that. You can also do things like play artist Coldplay. So what it's done is basically done a YouTube search for Coldplay. Now what I find it a little interesting here is that I've already side-loaded Coldplay onto this device, but it's not able to read into that. So even though we have a music app on board, looks like Google Voice Actions can't work with it. So that's kind of disappointing because that feature does work on things like the iPod Touch. Now speaking of the music app, if we load the music app, you can see I have all of my side-loaded content already on the device indexed and ready to play back. So this is basically everything I just dragged and dropped to the music folder on the device while it was connected to my computer. So you can see I have a small selection here, and actually this was all dragged and dropped from iTunes, so it does play AAC. In fact, it plays a huge variety of codecs like FLAC, Ogg Vorbis, WAV, MP3, everything you can imagine, and that's one of the benefits of having an Android device is the variety of things it can play back. You can also create playlists, which I haven't done. You can also sort by albums, and you can sort by artists. So it uses all of the metadata in order to index that. Now to test out the player, let's just play Tongue Tied by Group Love. This is actually the song from the latest iPod Touch commercial. So you have your volume control right here, or you can use the physical buttons on the side. We also can pause it, play, skip. Of course we don't have any tracks here to skip, but you get the idea. And you can go to list view to bring you back to your all your music. Now of course you can continue playing if you go home, and when you lock the screen. In fact, when you wake it up, you do have immediate control up here, so you can swipe that down without unlocking it, and you can pause it or play it. That's the same story with the system tray, just swipe down to bring up the music and pause it. Now of course we have a built-in email client supporting Gmail. Of course all Android devices have maps built in, so this gives you turn-by-turn with voice prompts right in the device. It does have a GPS antenna as well, so it's a very good GPS device. But of course, in order to use Google Maps, you do need internet connectivity, and of course this is not a cellular device, but at least you have the GPS hardware, so if you want to buy apps that support GPS, this device does have it. Now of course we also have Google Market, which allows us to search for apps, music, books, and movies. So in the App Store we can take a look around here. We can take a look at what's featured. We can search by categories. And we can kind of scroll around to search different lists, or you can go right to search and start searching. Taking a look at music, you can purchase music from the Google Store. So we can go to new releases. We can search for whatever is popular here. And same story with books. So again, the same sort of breakdown. So we have categories. We have Steve Jobs by Walter Isaacson, top selling, new arrivals in fiction, etc., etc. So you get the idea. The app market is pretty consistent across all Android devices. Now, Samsung also has some of its own apps, which I don't have a Samsung device to use on, but this allows you to remotely control a TV or DVD player or other home equipment, assuming you're connected to the same Wi-Fi network. We also have Google Talk here, and I'm probably going to reveal some of my contacts here. Hope you guys don't mind. So if I want to start talking to any of these guys, all I have to do is type on them, and start messaging them. Now we also have a full-featured YouTube app, so if you just press the menu controller, we can bring up home, browse, search, my channel, uploads, and settings. So if we go to my channel, I'm already logged in, so you can see all my subscriptions, my playlist, my uploads. From here, I can edit my uploads by editing the information or deleting them. So it's a very nice feature, especially for a YouTuber, because on iOS, the YouTube app isn't particularly well featured. It doesn't allow you to do things like edit the information on your video. Now we also have a built-in FM radio, and all we need to do is connect a pair of headphones. It doesn't have to be the included headphones. Any headphones will work, and that will act as your antenna, and we can turn it on, and we can go to one of our presets here, and you can kind of hear it playing back through the headphones. And you can skip ahead, and it will scan to the next channel. Or you can also use the dial to scrub to a channel. If you want to set a channel, all you have to do is hold the plus button, and there it's set. So now you can just jump to it anytime you want. Now quickly taking a look at the camera app, you can see it's pretty full featured, so we have a lot of settings here. So for example, we can change the scene mode, so we can do a single shot, smaller shot, action shot, or panorama. Panorama will stitch together multiple photos as you take them. We also have flash. We can control the flash, either turn it off, on, or auto. We're going to turn it on for the purpose of this demo. We also have exposure, so we can change the exposure value just by scrubbing it. So you can see the scene gets darker and lighter. It's kind of nice to be able to control that. And you have your settings. So this will bring up more settings. Outdoor visibility, go to the wrench icon, guidelines, review, GPS. You can turn on GPS. And you have many other screens to pick. You can change your resolution. So we have it at the maximum resolution, I believe, 2048 by 1536. And we can change things like white balance, metering, and adjust. I guess, okay, contrast, saturation, sharpness, so we can do that live. That's kind of neat. And we also have the camera icon, which will toggle between camcorder and still camera. And of course, you have other options here. You can change your resolution and set the self timer, change your exposure, change the flash, and of course you have a record button, and you can toggle back to the camera. So let's go back to camera. And this has autofocusing in it, but it won't autofocus until you press the shutter button. So if we press the shutter button here, see the first thing it does is autofocus, and then takes the photo. Now if we want to go back to that photo, just tap, brings us back to the library, and we can zoom in, and it's pretty good. It looks pretty sharp. Now in video mode, the flash doesn't turn on until you start recording. So if we turn on the recording, the flash finally turns on. You can see it's pretty bright. Now what's great is you also have the ability to pause it instead of stopping it. So you can see it's paused right now, so I can continue recording on the same track. Now if I want to stop it, just press stop, and you're all set. And once again, just tap the gallery icon and click play. I can also toggle to the forward-facing camera with this switch here, but what's interesting is that this camera does not allow you to record video. You can only snap photos. And of course we have a web browser, so if we launch that, that brings us to the built-in web browser, and you can see it is not tabbed browsing. Now if we tap our menu key here, we can create a new window. We can go to the windows that are already open, we can refresh, add a bookmark, or more. So if we go to create a new window, we can start typing in our address. Let's type in CNN. Brings us to the mobile version of CNN. Now to take a look at all our windows, again just tap the menu key, go to Windows, so we can see we have 4 windows, and we can swipe through them. So we can also close them by tapping the minus key up here, and tap there to bring it right back to the page. And here performance is pretty good. It's pretty snappy, zooms in pretty fast. There's not a lot of checkerboarding here when you swipe through really fast. Looks pretty good. I really think the Galaxy Player is a very compelling product for anybody who is interested in the Android platform. There are very few devices that compete in this area. So the other option for an Android portable device is a full Android phone, which of course is very expensive and a major commitment. So either you buy it unlocked and pay a lot of money, or you buy it on contract and pay a lot of money. Of course, you also have Android tablets, which are not as portable and are still quite expensive. So you get the full Android experience here, and you get a full-featured player. So beyond just being a cheap Android device, you get that 5-inch screen, you get Bluetooth, a GPS antenna, you get stereo speakers, fairly decent cameras. It could use a high-def video camera. That would be a big improvement. And you also get a terrestrial radio, which certainly is a nice bonus to have on a media player, especially since devices like the iPod Touch do not have it. Now, while the player is fairly lightweight, it's also pretty bulky, so when you put this in your pocket, you're definitely going to notice it. So it may be uncomfortable for a lot of people. It certainly is kind of a strange size, so it's not the most portable device around, so certainly it's a lot bigger than an iPod Touch. It's a lot thicker, it's a lot wider, it's a lot taller. But of course, it's a lot more mobile than an iPad 2, which of course is a nearly 10-inch device. Now, while the 5-inch screen is its biggest selling point, I also think it's its biggest weakness, and that's because the resolution is particularly low. At 480 by 800, that resolution over a 5-inch screen is pretty pixelated. This is particularly a big issue with text. Now, if we look at something like the Retina display of the iPod Touch, which has a resolution of 640 by 960, this resolution makes text a lot more readable. In order to read text on this, particularly on a website, you really have to pinch in the zoom in order to resolve the text. So this makes this a particularly poor e-reader. The display is also a TN display. It's not IPS, so there isn't great off-axis viewing, and even when looking at it head-on, the color gamut is pretty low. It's not very bright. The contrast isn't very sharp, so the screen isn't that vivid. So in the end, I would actually prefer a smaller, high-quality display to the 5-inch large, low-quality display. So in the end, I can definitely recommend the Galaxy Player. I would like to see a higher resolution screen as well as a camera that can record in 720p HD. So that's going to do it for me, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again in the next video.